Welcome to the Quantum Space Podcast, Innovating Trust, Episode 5. Today, we are discussing the resurgence of the digital identity debate in the UK and contrasting current proposals with the failed 2006 to 2010 scheme. We'll discuss key legislative and technological shifts that make a digital ID system more feasible now, and we will also be looking at Estonia's successful digital identity model as inspiration, while cautioning against blindly transplanting its entire system due to differing contexts. We will also look at the BritCard proposal as a mandatory digital credential and address the potential benefits and risks, including digital exclusion and function creep. We'll also be discussing the importance of a federated privacy by design approach to build public trust and avoid past mistakes. This is BritCard or Bust.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something that's, well, it's been simmering for years in the UK, hasn't it? And now it's really back on the boil: national digital identity.
It really is. And it feels different this time.
Yeah, less like just another debate, maybe more like a genuine crossroads. The big question for us, I suppose, is what did we actually learn from the last time this kind of thing, well, crashed and burned? And what are these new proposals really about?
Okay, let's try and unpack this. Our mission for this deep dive is basically to get you fully up to speed. We're looking at some new ideas like this BritCard concept from Labor Together.
Which has certainly got people talking.
Definitely. And we'll break down the new legal side of things, the Data Use and Access Act 2025. Plus, look at what's already happening.
All right.
Gov.uk one login, the gov.uk wallet idea, those home office visas.
Right, the thing's already in motion.
Exactly. And we'll take a detour to Estonia, because you always hear about Estonia, don't you? The sort of gold standard, maybe? Or maybe a warning. Well, what's absolutely vital here, I think, is understanding this isn't just a tech project. Not at all.
Yeah.
It's really fundamental. It's about public trust. It's about privacy. It's about how we even prove who we are, online and offline. So our goal today is to give you a clear picture, something comprehensive, but hopefully not overwhelming.
Definitely. Because you can't really get where we're going without looking back, can you? The UK has, let's be honest, got some history here.
Oh, absolutely. The Blair-era ID cards.
Exactly. The Identity Cards Act 2006, people might remember that. The plan was physical cards, sure, but behind them was the big thing, the National Identity Register, the NIR. This central database holding pretty much everything biographic, biometric data.
It's a huge undertaking.
Huge. But it all came crashing down pretty spectacularly, didn't it? The coalition government came in after 2010, and bang, the Identity Documents Act 2010 scrapped the whole lot.
Wasted no time.
Not at all. By February 2011, the Home Office was confirming, the actual hardware for the NIR wiped, shredded, physically destroyed.
And the money people paid for the cards they never got.
That £30 fee? Nope, never refunded, just gone.
And look, the failure back then wasn't just, politics changing. There were real, solid reasons why it collapsed.
Okay, so what were they?
Well, a massive one was the sheer idea of that central database. The optics were terrible. People worried constantly about function creep.
Meaning it could be used for more than originally planned.
Exactly. It wasn't just seen as a list for ID cards. It felt like this single giant pot of data that could just keep growing, linking information across government, maybe beyond. That whole Big Brother fear was very real.
Okay, so the database itself was a big issue. What else?
Then there was the cost. Just the fear of the cost. Government estimates were what, $5.4 billion over 10 years?
Which is already a lot of money.
It is.
Yeah.
But then you had independent groups like the LSE's Identity Project warning the true costs could be way, way higher. That really didn't help public support,
Are you kidding?
And security and trust were just massive. Remember, this was a time with quite a few high-profile government IT fails. So the idea of a honeypot database, one big target for hackers, really stuck.
Right, makes sense.
And finally, I think the government just never sold the why. The benefits fighting terrorism, cutting fraud, making admin smoother, they all felt a bit vague, hard to pin down.
Well, the other side had a clear message.
Absolutely. Opponents framed it really effectively as surveillance for little practical payoff. And that message, well, it cut through. So if you connect all those dots, it's pretty clear, isn't it? The 2006 scheme died less because of the tech itself and more because of this collapse in public trust, these deep privacy worries, and just failing to convince people it was worth it.
That's a really crucial point from the past. So, okay, if tech wasn't the main killer then and trust was shattered, what's actually different now? Why is this conversation back in 2025 and seemingly, well, louder and more serious?
Well, a fair bit has changed on the ground. For starters, there's a proper legal underpinning now that wasn't there before. Part 2 of the Data Use and Access Act 2025. It essentially puts Digital Verification Services, DVS, on a statutory footing.
Meaning they have real legal recognition.
Exactly. It gives them legal weight. The Act sketches out rules for a whole trusted digital identity ecosystem. That means government departments, even regulated private companies, can actually rely on these digital proofs legally. That certainty is new.
Okay, so the law has changed. But is that it?
No, not at all. It's also about what's already happening, sort of quietly normalizing digital credentials. This isn't like the 2006 Big Bang Plan.
You mean things like gov.uk1 login?
Precisely. That's rolling out, consolidating how you sign in and prove who you are for different central government services. And their roadmap includes using things like open banking data for identity checks.
Right, I've seen that. And then there's the gov.uk wallet concept. How does that fit in?
Yeah, so if one login is about getting into services, the wallet is different. Think of it like carrying specific digital badges or proofs on your phone. It's designed for what they call selective sharing of verified attributes. So, proving you're over 18 without showing your whole driving license, or proving right to work without handing over your passport details.
Ah, so just sharing the bit of info needed, not the whole document.
Exactly. Minimum disclosure, which is quite different. And then you've got the Home Office pushing ahead with e-visas.
Right, getting rid of the physical BRP cards entirely.
Totally. Moving immigration status proof completely online. So you see, digital credentials aren't some future fantasy. They're becoming part of the landscape already, piece by piece.
So these existing systems are kind of paving the way, even if they're separate for now.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
They're normalizing the idea. And the technology itself is just fundamentally different from 2006. The big one. No central mega database is needed.
Avoiding the ghost of the NIR.
Precisely. Modern approaches use things like verifiable credentials and selective disclosure. Think of them as secure digital proofs you control that could be checked without needing one massive central store of everyone's data.
So it's more distributed.
Exactly. The emphasis is on federated exchange rather than centralization. Secure data routes between trusted sources, not one big vault. Plus, and this is key, real services already depend on digital status. Tax, benefits, driving the need for something better, smoother is much more obvious to people now.
Okay, so against that backdrop of legal changes, existing tech, and new approaches, comes this big proposal, BritCard, from the Labor Together think tank.
Yes, that's the one making headlines.
And they describe it as mandatory, universal, digital credential for basically everyone legally allowed to live or work here.
Mandatory and universal are the key words there.
Yeah. Issued free, lives on your phone, verifiable by landlords, employers, services. It's a big vision.
It certainly is.
They've put some numbers on it, too, maybe up to 400 million to set up, 10 million tiles a year to run. And they talk about a test and learn rollout, maybe late 2020s. And Downing Street is apparently exploring options. So it's not just a think tank fantasy.
No, it seems to be on the table. Now, how this BritCard idea relates to the existing things like gov.uk wallet or one login, that's really important.
How so?
Well, it might ride the rails of those systems, use their tech for proving identity or sharing attributes. Or it could become this umbrella credential sitting over everything. The exact architecture, how it feels to use, that will massively impact public trust.
Right. Does it feel like one giant ID or just a tool using existing bits?
Precisely. The details really, really matter there.
Now, whenever this comes up, UK policymakers seem to point east, specifically to Estonia. It's held up as this kind of North Star for digital government. So what is the Estonian system? What are they doing right?
Yeah, Estonia comes up constantly. So their setup, the Estonian stack, essentially gives every resident a state-backed digital ID. That might be their physical ID card, which has a chip, or mobile ID on their phone, or something called Smart ID.
Okay.
And this is all underpinned by legally strong electronic signatures and, crucially, this thing called X-Road. It's a secure data exchange layer. Think of it as the secure digital highway connecting all the different government databases and systems, but without creating one central super database.
Ah, okay. And it works.
Astonishingly well, by all accounts. They say 99% of residents have an ID. They've done hundreds of millions of digital signatures. They reckon it saves up to 5 days per person per year in admin time.
5 days. Wow.
Yeah, nearly a full work week saved per person just through digital efficiency. And 99% of public services are online 247. Apparently only things like getting married or divorced still need you to show up in person.
Incredible. How do they manage the data side, the privacy concerns?
That's key. They have what they call a culture of data minimization. Instead of copying data everywhere, the X-Road system lets one authorized system securely query another authoritative system for just the piece of data it needs. Data stays where it belongs.
That sounds very sensible. But is it too good to be true for somewhere like the UK? You hear the phrase, don't transplant blindly. Can we just copy Estonia?
Absolutely not. That's the critical caution. Trying a direct copy-paste would likely fail spectacularly.
Why? What are the big differences?
Several huge ones. First, just scale and history. Estonia, but 1.3 million people. The UK, vastly bigger, more complex. Estonia also had that unique post-Soviet moment in 1991 to rebuild its state from the ground up, a kind of clean slate.
Whereas the UK has legacy system.
Exactly. A huge legacy estate. Older tech, devolved governments adding complexity, a whole ecosystem of existing vendors. It's just a different beast entirely.
Okay, scale and legacy. What else?
Trust. Estonia built trust partly through radical transparency. They have transparent logging. Citizens can literally log in and see which official or system accessed their data and when.
Wow, really?
Yes, and there are serious penalties for misuse. The UK would need something comparable in terms of transparency and accountability to even start building that kind of trust.
And the digital divide, making sure everyone's included.
Crucial point. Estonia apparently invested early in offline fallbacks and assisted digital channels. They made sure people who weren't online weren't excluded. The UK absolutely must overinvest here, too. We've seen potential issues already with the visa rollout for some groups.
So Estonia is inspiring, definitely, but it's not a simple template.
Not at all. It offers principles, maybe, but not a ready-made solution.
Okay, so if we can't just copy Estonia, what should a trustworthy UK digital identity system look like? What are the key ingredients, the architecture notes to get this right? It is good to hear that things like One Login and the Gov UK wallet are maybe already pointing in a decent direction.
Yes, they incorporate some good principles. One Login offers multiple ways to prove identity. A wallet talks about user control and sharing just attributes. Privacy by design. Building on that, there are some core principles we should absolutely insist on. Okay, first, really embrace verifiable credentials and selective disclosure. Use the tech standards, like W3C verifiable credentials, to create these digital proofs for specific things. Over 18 has right to work, holds driving license.
So not the whole document digitally, just the fact you need to prove.
Precisely. The verifier only sees the specific claim, nothing else. Crucially, this helps resist building that single, all-knowing, queryable index of every person. Your data isn't pooled centrally.
Okay, that sounds good. Principle 1, selective disclosure. What's next?
Second, learn the X-Road lesson. Federated, logged exchange. Don't centralize the data. Securely route requests to the authoritative source. Use strong security like mutual TLS, end-to-end signing. And critically, immutable audit logs viewable by the subject.
So I can see who checked my data, like in Estonia.
Exactly. You need that transparency. It's about orchestrating secure data flow, not hoarding data centrally.
Right. Secure digital highways, not a giant warehouse. Got it. Principle 3.
Keep the keys close. On-device keys with escape hatches. Your cryptographic keys, the things that prove it's really you, should live primarily on your device, your phone, probably protected by hardware security and your biometrics.
So in my pocket, under my control.
Ideally, yes. But, and this is vital, you need escape hatches. Really robust, probably offline, ways to recover your identity if you lose your phone or it gets stolen. Losing your phone cannot mean civil death, locking you out of everything.
Yeah, that would be terrifying. Okay, recovery plans are essential. What else?
Fourth, design for everyone, inclusion by design. Offer multiple equivalence class routes to get verified. Maybe you use your passport's NFC chip. Maybe you use open banking history. Maybe you need an in-person check. Maybe there's a vouching system.
So different paths to the same result, ensuring no one's excluded just because one method doesn't work for them.
Exactly. No single point of failure for access.
Makes sense. And how do we stop all these digital interactions being secretly linked up behind the scenes?
That's principle 5. Cryptographic separation of identifiers. Use what are called pairwise pseudonymous identifiers. Basically, your digital ID presents a different face or identifier to each service you interact with.
Like a unique digital handshake for each service.
That's a good way to think about it. It makes it technically very difficult for different services to compare notes and track your activity across the whole digital space. No single citizen number floating around in the clear. Your real identifiers, like an NI number, would be securely inside the credential, but not revealed unless absolutely necessary and legally mandated.
Okay, clever tech to protect privacy. What about when things go wrong?
That's 6. Governance plus redress. This isn't just about tech. It's about rules and accountability. We need a truly independent identity ombudsman with statutory power, someone who can order corrections, halt processes, even award compensation if the system messes up.
Real teeth for oversight?
Absolutely. Plus, things like requiring organizations using the ID system verifiers to be approved or whitelisted, mandatory privacy impact assessments before they can use it, strict limits on how often they can check, and fines for abuse. Give that DVS regime in the 2025 Act some actual power.
And the last principle.
Keep it open. Open standards and open source. Publish the technical protocols, the crypto choices, maybe even reference code. Let independent experts audit it. Let third parties build compatible tools.
Avoid secret government tech and vendor lock-in.
Exactly. Transparency builds trust. You know, what's fascinating here is that genuine public trust won't come from slick PR campaigns. It'll come from people seeing these kinds of technical and legal safeguards baked into the system from day one.
That's a really powerful blueprint. It shows just how much thought needs to go into this beyond the headlines. So let's talk stakes. If the UK does manage to build something following those principles, gets this right, what are the upsides?
The potential benefits are pretty significant, actually.
Like for everyday checks.
Yeah, think about employers, landlords doing right to work or right to rent checks. It could be faster and less error-prone, using a secure digital proof compared to checking documents. For banks, fintechs, they could potentially reuse a trusted government-verified credential for their own know-your-customer checks.
Reducing hassle and fraud.
That's the idea. Less duplication of effort across the economy. And for individuals, there are real privacy gains potentially. That attribute-level sharing, proving your age without showing your address or date of birth, that's a genuine step up.
And for the government itself.
Huge potential savings. If Estonia saves days of administrative time saved per citizen each year, even a fraction of that in the UK would be massive savings. Plus, from a cybersecurity angle, modern cryptographic proofs, maybe rotating identifiers, they're just inherently far more resilient to the kinds of massive data breaches we see with current systems.
Okay, so the potential prize is big. Efficiency, security, maybe even better privacy in some ways. But we know the history. What are the risks if the UK gets this wrong, repeats those old mistakes?
And those risks are very real and shouldn't be downplayed.
Top of the list must be exclusion.
Absolutely. If or when digital identity becomes practically essential for daily life, anyone excluded isn't just inconvenienced, it becomes structural discrimination. We've already seen warning signs with the e-visa rollout for older people or those less digitally savvy. Get that wrong at scale, and it's a disaster.
And the old favorite, purpose creep.
Always a danger. Without rock-solid legal and technical walls, a system designed for proving status could easily morph into a tool for tracking citizens, monitoring behavior. That convenience becomes a universal tracking token.
A scary thought. What else?
Relying too much on one piece of tech, a technological monoculture. If everyone has to use one specific government app or one specific vendor system, that creates a massive single point of failure. A hack or outage doesn't just affect a few people, it affects the whole country. That destroys trust.
Right. Need diversity in the tech.
And transparency, or the lack of it, especially with automation. These identity systems will inevitably feed into things like automated fraud detection, risk scoring by government, or even private companies. If those algorithms are black boxes, making decisions people can't understand or challenge, that's deeply problematic. We need algorithmic explainability.
So opaque, unchallengeable computer says no decisions based on your digital ID.
That's the nightmare scenario you have to design against. It really brings up that fundamental question, doesn't it? How do these design choices impact society? Where do we draw the line between freedom and convenience?
It feels like that's the tightrope politicians are walking now. There's this pull towards modernizing. The pragmatic side sees the efficiency gains.
Definitely. Ministers see the potential savings, the smoother services, and ideas like BritCard are clearly being looked at seriously.
But then there's the ghost of 2006, that wariness about civil liberties, about getting hammered on digital exclusion. The political optics are tricky.
Very tricky, which might explain the current strategy. It looks quite cautious, quite incremental.
How so?
Strengthen the bits already there. One login, keep developing the wallet concept, push on with e-visas, build those foundations. Keep the idea of a big universal credential like BritCard maybe on the horizon discussed, but not actually legislate for it just yet.
Test the waters, build capabilities, maybe wait for the right moment.
Something like that. It avoids a big political fight right now while still moving things forward technologically.
So for you listening, wanting to track how this unfolds, what are the key things to watch out for in the next, say, year or so? What are the signals?
Okay, good question. There are definitely specific things to keep an eye on. First, watch those gov.uk wallet pilots very closely. Will they actually deliver on selective disclosure? Can you really prove you're over 18 without showing your date of birth? If they demonstrate that privacy protection works in the real world, that builds confidence.
Okay, wallet pilots. What else?
Second, watch the rollout of using open banking data for identity verification. What are the adoption rates? Crucially, are there big demographic gaps? If uptake is high and pretty evenly spread, the government can claim it's inclusive. If certain groups are left behind, expect critics to seize on that as proof of digital exclusion.
Right, the inclusion numbers. Makes sense.
Third, the devil will be in the detail of the DVS regulations under that 2025 Act. How does the government actually implement the framework? Who gets accredited to offer or check IDs? What standards must they meet? How tough are the audits? That boring regulatory stuff will determine if the whole ecosystem is truly trustworthy or just window dressing.
Got it. Regulatory details matter.
Fourth, keep watching the Home Office e-visa program. That really is the canary in the coal mine. If it runs smoothly, great. If there are more high-profile failures, particularly affecting vulnerable people, that will massively undermine the political case for any bigger universal system.
So the e-visa success or failure is a big indicator.
Huge. And finally, maybe the biggest underlying question, technically and politically, will the UK really adopt a federated model akin to Estonia's X-Road? Decentralized data, individual audit logs. Or will the bureaucratic gravity, the desire for control, pull it back towards centralized registers?
Back towards the old NIR model, essentially.
That's the risk. And honestly, that technical choice, federated exchange versus central database, will probably do more than anything else to shape the narrative around whether digital ID in Britain enhances your freedom or ultimately curtails it.
Wow. This has been, well, a proper deep dive. We've gone from the ghosts of ID cards past, through the new laws, the current tech builds like one login and wallet, the big BritCard idea.
Compared it all to Estonia.
Right. Looked at what makes a system trustworthy, those architectural principles, and weighed up the potential benefits against those really serious risks. It definitely feels like the UK is at a crucial point.
It really does. So what does this all mean for you, listening?
Well, the convenience sounds great, obviously, but I think the real test will not be at launch. It'll be on the bad days.
What do you mean?
When someone inevitably loses their phone. Or when an algorithm gets it wrong and mismatches someone. Or when a citizen needs to challenge an official decision that seems unfair, a decision perhaps influenced by this digital identity system.
Right. How the system handles errors, exceptions, challenges.
Exactly. How the system responds in those moments, the difficult moments, that's what will ultimately determine whether digital identity in the UK is remembered as just a handy convenience or as a source of anxiety, a new kind of vulnerability.
A powerful thought to end on. Something for all of us to keep in mind as this story continues to unfold. Stay informed, keep asking questions.
You've been listening to episode 5 of the Quantum Space podcast series, Innovating Trust. You can find out further details on this topic by visiting our website at thequantumspace.org. This was Innovating Trust, a Quantum Space podcast, edited and produced by Crown Communications.